Okay, our first chemical group that we're going to talk about in our second line defenses are called cytokines. There are 4 different types of cytokines: chemokines, interleukins, interferon, and tumor necrosis factors. Each of these has their own independent role. You can also see these details in table 11.3. I'm going to give a quick synopsis, but this is also in the reading as well as in this table. One of the roles of chemokines. These are a signaling group. Matter of fact, what they're trying to do is they're trying to signal other leukocytes to come to this area. So this will recruit second and third line white blood cells. When you put the chemical out, these white blood cells will find that area because there will be a high concentration of the chemical, and therefore the white blood cells will move by chemotaxis into that area in order to help. Chemokines are also very important for the cleanup. These are going to help to repair the wound site. One thing that will happen is it'll tell the macrophages to undergo phagocytosis and eat up any dead cells. So they will phagocytize dead cells. And they will also tell nearby cells, they will tell healthy cells nearby to undergo mitosis. If you want to repair tissue, you need new cells. And so if you need new cells, you will tell good cells to do mitosis. They will also be important. Sometimes blood vessels are broken, so they will be very important for blood vessel repair, as well as lymph tissue repair. These are the chemicals that will signal these 2 systems in order to develop and fix those 2 sets of tissues. Our second chemical are the interleukins. These are also going to be partially signaling. So one of their jobs is also going to be to recruit other cells to the area. They will also stimulate the bone marrow. So they will stimulate the bone marrow in order to create both red blood cells and more white blood cells. This is a process, or the term for that is called hematopoiesis. Hematopoiesis. See, you can sound it out real easily. The process of inflammation is a process by which we get rid of a pathogen. We don't want it to get out of control. We want it to be just enough to take care of the pathogen, but not too much that we hurt our cells. So this chemical will be very important for regulate inflammation. Also, this is one of those things that can get us to generate a fever. A 5th role of our interleukins is that if I do have a cell that's infected, this can actually signal them to undergo self-programmed death or apoptosis. And when we get to chapter 12, when we have to learn how to train our T cells, part of our 3rd line of defense, these will be one of the chemicals that will allow T cells to mature. So interleukins, as you can see, play a very big role. The section on chemokines and interleukins, they do not have any figures that go with it. It is just all in the reading. But like I say, most of it is summarized in 11.3. However, the interferons have a figure to go with it. So figure 11.9 is where you will also find more information on our interferons. And I have to turn open my page to that book. All right, there are three major roles that we can see that happen for interferons. One of the things that they can do is that they can signal other cells that a virus is in the area. Once that other cell gets the signal, it can then take precautions so that if it gets invaded, it can begin to defend itself. So this allows nearby cells to prepare for invasion. So you can see in the figure, the cell on the top has been invaded by the virus. It has released an interferon that has been picked up by a nearby cell, and that nearby cell is making molecules that will prevent protein synthesis. If you have molecules or proteins that will prevent protein synthesis, then a virus cannot make its capsid. And if a virus cannot make its capsid, then you have defeated it. A second thing that can happen, if that cell that's nearby is already infected, interferon is going to tell that cell to kill itself. That way it eliminates that cell from the area and any more production of that virus. So it can tell nearby infected cells to undergo apoptosis. So this is what we were talking about with that SARS. Remember, interferon is one of the things that SARS can overcome. If you can stop that nearby cell from undergoing apoptosis, then that cell will stay functional and it'll create more viruses. So interferon, its role in the system is, if you're already infected, you're going to undergo cell death. That will reduce the population. And then thirdly, as with all the others so far, you can see the third part of that picture shows that it activates leukocytes. That's another way of saying we're going to recruit more white blood cells to our infected area so that we can conquer our pathogen. The last chemical we have are the tumor necrosis factors. These are going to have two different things. One of the things, as the name implies, these are specialists for going after tumor cells. Those aren't pathogens, but they are still cells that have gone rogue and have to be dealt with. But also, this can also stimulate inflammation. And as we'll talk about in the next section, that's a very important way for eliminating pathogens. So those are our cytokines, our chemokines, interleukins, interferon, and tumor necrosis factors.